One round to go in the Gallagher Premiership. This is a rare Sunday where there are no Premiership fixtures, and that gives me a little bit more time to reflect. Gives us a bit of time to just get excited about the games that are coming 6 days from now. Round 18 and 5 matches, all that will be kicking off at the same time. And, well, most of which, 4 out of 5 of which, are very, very, very significant games, which are going to go a long way to deciding the winner of this year's Premiership, because the race for the playoffs and for the top 2 spots and home semi-finals is well and truly on. Let's take a little look at it then. Let's dive under the bonnet of the table as it stands currently. I mean, you can ignore Gloucester and Newcastle. Newcastle, 17 defeats from 17 games, absolutely abject. And Gloucester were a complete embarrassment to the history of their club, to their fantastic fans. They were woeful, losing 90 points to 0 away at Northampton, who are running away at the top of the table. But in hot pursuit are Saracens. Bath and Sale, and those are the top 4 spots at the minute. Will they still be top 4 by the end of next weekend? I'm not so sure, because nipping at their heels are Exeter, Harlequins and Bristol as well. Those 7 teams could all make the top 4. And let's have a look at the fixtures next week. Let's look back at the games that we've just seen. And there were a couple of teams, and this is the table after round 17. Before round 17, there were a couple of teams that had to win, that had no other option. Lose and you're done. And one of those teams was Exeter Chiefs, who did get the all-important victory to go above Harlequins in the table into 5th and to give themselves a really good shot at a top 4 spot. 58 points to 26 they beat Harlequins. Their last game in front of their home crowd, and they put in an absolutely blinding performance. Emmanuel Faye-Waboso, powerful, elusive, absolute game breaker. But I tell you what, I mean, there were a lot of good players on the Exeter team, as the scoreline would suggest, but Henry Slade is having one of his best ever seasons. There were some people saying he didn't go to the World Cup. If you watch this channel for any length of time, you know what a massive fan of Henry Slade I am, and what a massive advocate of his I have been. I could not believe that he wasn't thought necessary, needed by England at the Rugby World Cup. He is absolutely class, and he has proven it this season, and he proved it in that game against Harlequins yesterday. Quins got the bonus point at the very end with pretty much the last play of the game, which that could be very important for Quins' point of view. Exeter have a final match away at Leicester. Leicester, who've been floundering a bit lately, straight run of defeats for them. They'll want to finish strong at home, but Exeter will fancy their chances of getting a win. The other game, and if you go back and have a look at the table, you can see just what this would mean. The other game, Exeter go away to Leicester. A win puts them in with a shot, depending on how Sale's match goes. And Harlequins play against Bristol. So the loser of Harlequins against Bristol is done, cooked, obviously. The winner could qualify, but equally, it could be that game could become irrelevant depending on how Exeter and Sale get on in their fixtures. Really, really interesting stuff. So great result for Exeter. As for Bristol, they were well beaten by Saracens, 20 points to 41, and Owen Farrell instrumental in that one. Elliot Daly looking really good for Saracens as well. It's that time of year where the big international stars show their international class, and Saracens, they absolutely did that. Owen Farrell was brilliant, orchestrating the team. They played a lot looser than they did when they beat Bath a couple of weeks ago. So they've got range in how Saracens can play. They are the bookies' favourites for the tournament, even though Northampton are top of the table and playing amazing rugby. Saracens just have that pedigree. They have those players who know how to win trophies, and they're going to be motivated to send Owen Farrell off with a 7th Premiership title, which would be an incredible record. Fantastic win for them. Jose Gonzalez was in the picture there, number 6. He was absolutely awesome as well. And they brought off the bench Theo Dan and Theo McFarland. Just gives you a little insight into the talent that Saracens have got in their ranks. So Saracens next weekend will be playing Sale Sharks at home. That's a box office game. Alex Sanderson's going to be taking his current club that he's just got a new 3-year deal as director of rugby for, Sale Sharks, currently in 4th position because they beat Leicester Tigers 31 points to 22 with a gutsy win. Manu Tuolangi in his final game at home for Sale Sharks against his old club Leicester Tigers and he got the win. There were quite a few players for Sale Sharks that were saying goodbye, but they'll want to make sure they've got another game together beyond next weekend. And to do that, they're going to need to go and beat Saracens at Saracens, which is a tough ask. Very tough ask. So I think you'd have to put Saracens favourites to win that game. And so I would say Sale Sharks are probably... You're more likely... I'd say I put Exeter as having a better chance than Sale Sharks of making it into top 4. But Sale have given themselves a shot because their late season form has been really good. They had a big wobble in the middle and were looking out of it. But they're back and playing very well. Saracens are guaranteed a semi-final spot. But home advantage is absolutely massive. So they will be motivated to beat Sale Sharks at home and make sure they get themselves a home semi-final match in the playoffs. For Northampton Saints, well, a bonus point for them will probably be enough to get first place. They've wrapped up a home semi-final. That's in the bag. And like I say, bonus points will probably mean they've got enough for first place. So they could rest up a little bit in their final match. In their final match, they go away to Bath. I don't think Northampton will take their foot off the pedal at all, though. They're in a rich vein of form. This is their only focus now the Champions Cup is done. They know they've got 2 matches left. They'll want to make it 3. They'll want to send Courtney Laws and Lewis Ludlam and other players off with a bit of silverware in their pocket. They've got an amazing opportunity. They're not going to let it slip. So I don't think Northampton will make major changes for the Bath game. They've got a big enough and good enough squad that they can rotate in a few key positions. I expect them to do that. They absolutely walloped Gloucester, 90 points to 0. Gloucester, an embarrassment. And summed up by one moment when Gloucester were 80 points behind, 80 points to 0, and they got a penalty about 30 metres out, and they went for the posts and missed. So there's a lesson for us all. Don't bother taking the tee onto the pitch when you're already 80 points down. Absolutely shocking from Gloucester. Fantastic attacking rugby from Northampton. They're going to have a much, much tougher test next weekend away at Bath, who are in 3rd currently. And Bath, they know a bonus point in that game, so they can still lose and make a semi-final. A bonus point will be enough for a semi-final, but they could get a home semi-final. Again, that Sale going to Saracens needing to win. If Sale slip up, Bath are ready to pounce. They will desperately want to win that last home game and make sure they get potentially another game at the Rec. These home semi-finals are going to be huge. History tells you just how much. I think it's a crazy stat. It's something like up there in about 80%, the number of home wins in playoff semi-finals. It's huge. And if Bath do beat Northampton, then, well, that could end up being the semi-final as well. Between these 2 matches, if Bath managed to beat Northampton, Saracens could leapfrog Northampton, and it could be Northampton against Bath in a semi-final. So kind of psychologically, there's a lot on the line for both of these teams. They won't want to go into the playoffs having just lost to that team. So it's going to be really interesting. And the other little element of Northampton going to Bath is Finn Russell up against Finn Smith. The 2 Finns. Bit of Finn sanity on show. And Finn Russell was back for his Bath team, going up to Newcastle and doing the job, getting the 4 tries, getting the 5 points, and getting back down the M1 and whatever motorways you take to get back to Bath, M4, and yeah, getting back home where they will want to spend the next few weeks, which is why they will be desperate to beat Northampton. And dry conditions, flat, hard surface, with some brilliant talents outside him, with likes of Max Ajomo and Ollie Lawrence. Finn Russell can start doing bits again. So lots and lots. The only other game in the Premiership next weekend is Gloucester against Newcastle, the 2 bottom teams who have, well, I don't know, only pride at stake. Can Newcastle get 1 win? Can Gloucester give a big apology to their fans for an absolutely abject performance away at Northampton? There you go. I cannot wait for next weekend's game. They all kick off at UK time, 3:05. So I'll be multi-screening and then bringing you videos immediately following. What do I think is going to happen? I think Saracens will beat Sale and wrap up second place. I think I'm going to go for a Bath win at home to Northampton, but I think Northampton will get a bonus point, which will be enough for them to finish first. And I think Quins will beat Bristol, but I think Bristol could equally beat Quins. But I actually think the result of that game is irrelevant, because I think Exeter will go to Leicester and win and overtake Sale. So I think that my prediction is the top 4 is going to be Northampton Saints, Saracens, Bath and Exeter, which would be a remarkable season for Exeter Chiefs if they can do it. I thought it was going to take them a few years to rebuild after all of the players that they've lost, operating well below the salary cap and with some incredible young players that they've managed to. Rob Baxter's worked his magic on and knitted together into a brilliant team. Northampton against Exeter is my predicted game in one semi-final, which Northampton will be favourites, and Saracens v Bath in the other, which Saracens will be favourites. I cannot wait. We've got 4 massive games and 1 game just to keep half an eye on in the case for a case of Gloucester against Newcastle. In fact, don't even keep an eye on that. No. Yeah. Do you know what? It's one of those where if I was a Newcastle fan or a Gloucester fan, I might be watching the rest of the rugby, because it's far more interesting and we've got a lot on the line in these matches, and I can't wait. Bring it on. See you on the next video.